Hey guys, a 30-second scene from the Superman movie has been released. It shows Lex Luthor and Superman face to face, and what a sensational scene. Finally, we will see the comic book Lex Luthor. After years, we will finally have an imposing Lex Luthor. Well, folks, in today's video, I'll specifically talk about this scene. I'll also discuss my thoughts on the actors' performances and how they did in this scene. So just before we start, don't forget to hit the like button, comment below, and subscribe for more content like this. Also, follow us on our other social media platforms, Instagram and Threads. I'll keep you updated on this universe we all love. Well, on Jimmy Kimmel's show, David Corenswet and Nicholas Hoult were interviewed together, and suddenly a clip was released. And this usually happens with all films, and The Batman was like this too when, again, Robert Pattinson was on that show. He gave an interview there, and then they released that clip of the police department where he talks to Gordon and then punches him in the face during that first flight scene. Here they released a scene of Superman confronting Lex Luthor, and it's nothing that will ruin your experience. It's nothing absurd. It's something they promoted. It's not something that leaked. So that's where it starts. There's a TV spot. There's an international trailer. They make montages of different scenes. But notice one thing. There's no climax from the film, and there's no third act or any heavy spoilers in the trailers. There aren't any, so that's great. Now back to this scene. It's very similar to the 78 Superman scene when he arrives at Lex Luthor's lair, let's say. He bursts through the door, and Lex Luthor stays super calm, just like Gene Hackman. He remains calm because Lex Luthor is cold. He is a guy who feels nothing for Superman except hatred. So he feels no fear, no love. He feels nothing in hate, and Nicholas Hoult is probably one of the best Lex Luthors, maybe the best Lex Luthor we'll have in cinemas. Lex Luthor is a character who sees Superman and thinks only about how people like this guy. He thinks something like he's an alien, and he has all this hatred that develops through character building in animations, for example. I think it will be interesting to see this on screen. Recently, in an interview, Peter Safran said that Lex Luthor is one of the most interesting characters in the DCU, and one of its main characters. Even being a villain in DC, he is one of its main villains. So you have him, you have Joker, you have Brainiac, you have Darkseid, and many others. So it's really cool to see this scene because Superman bursts through the door while Eve Teschmacher films everything. She acts like some kind of blogger or something. Then Superman asks Lex where Krypto is. I think this scene refers to that moment at the Fortress of Solitude when the engineer breaks in and we only see Krypto there. So they must have captured Krypto for something. I don't know what for, but Superman looks really upset. I saw some people saying that the last time someone captured or killed a protagonist's dog was with John Wick, and we know what happened next. I really like the first John Wick because of that story. It's very simple. This thing even turns kind of comedic, but ends up being very dramatic for the character. But surely that won't happen with Krypto in this film, probably because he'll be in Supergirl's movie. And if you think that he'll be captured or something heavy will happen to him, if you read the comic Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, you know what happens with Krypto. Even though there's that whole ending later, just think about how amazing it would be for people to see that comic scene in the cinema. If it's like in the comic, you'll be saying, oh my God, Krypto. So relax, he's still going to have his adventure with Supergirl. But what's cool about this scene, two things. First, we saw Superman being really nice, right? Like what he truly is, a kind guy, an altruistic guy, a hopeful guy. We saw that all the time in the trailers. Now, in this scene, you see him more rough, yelling at Lex Luthor, irritated, right? Superman without patience, without time. And I like how he controls himself because if he doesn't control himself, then it's a mess, right? He could destroy the whole building. And that's really cool because he comes at Lex Luthor totally angry, and Lex Luthor stays super calm. You know that guy who doesn't care if someone talks about their shoes or hair or face or if they're overweight or too skinny? He doesn't care. Lex Luthor is that guy. Nicholas Hoult's Luthor doesn't care about Superman's presence, and he even asks, what dog? Like mocking Superman. I saw some people not understanding a rhetorical question. It's like Superman tries to intimidate Luthor, and Luthor isn't intimidated at all. Nicholas Hoult even said in an interview that David Corenswet is 2 centimeters taller than him, and that makes Lex Luthor look very imposing, even if he's a bit skinnier. So he grabs a coffee cup, right? And on this cup, we see the drawing of that spaceship we saw in the trailer. So this ship must be a space exploration project of Lex Luthor, right? And I think since he knows Superman is an alien, there must be others too. So he uses these ships to explore more space since he's a billionaire. So this Lex Luthor must be very influential in the city. There's even a news article by Ron Troop saying that the mayor of Metropolis is Lex Luthor's puppet. So this Lex Luthor is probably almost the owner of Metropolis. He's quite a bad guy, let's say. He has a very cold and calculating air. Returning to the rhetorical question that goes something like this, Lex Luthor says quietly, "An ugly dog in a cape." And then Superman asks, "What did you say?" So I saw some people asking a very silly question, saying something like, Superman doesn't have super hearing. He didn't hear what Lex Luthor said. But when you see that scene, Superman is kind of challenging Luthor. He's asking Luthor to repeat what he said. That's what it means. It's not that he is deaf and doesn't have super hearing. So, folks, let's try to understand things first before saying nonsensical things. In summary, it's not that Superman is deaf and lacks super hearing. When Luthor talks about the dog, that's Lex Luthor at his core. What is Lex Luthor? A guy who isn't afraid of Superman. He's a super intellect who thinks Superman won't break me in half. He's not that guy. And indeed, he isn't that guy. If Luthor is in armor, he'll take some punches and all, but he won't suffer physically from Superman. Superman throws the table through the window and breaks the entire office of Luthor there. And then you have him challenging Superman. He says, "What dog are you talking about?" Then Superman responds, "Where's the dog?" Then he asks, "That ugly dog in a cape?" He says it quietly while sipping coffee in a very ironic way. I really love this scene for Lex Luthor's posture. Nicholas Hoult's performance is impressive. I'm sure he will rock as Lex Luthor, and David Corenswet is also doing great as Superman. I felt like I was seeing the comic book Superman, especially because of the scene where he gets angry and then calms down, telling Luthor something like, he's just a dog. I found it very beautiful and very Superman-like. So there's still a lot more in this movie that will surprise us, especially in the scenes where we'll see the confrontation between Superman and Lex Luthor. After seeing this scene, I'm even more excited for this film. But anyway, folks, leave your opinions in the comments below, and don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.